March 1989. A computer scientist sits in his office at CERN, the world's largest particle physics laboratory in Switzerland. Around him, chaos. Thousands of researchers from dozens of countries are trying to share information, yet every computer system speaks a different language. Files can't be transferred. Research remains trapped in digital silos. Tim Berners-Lee stares at his computer screen and types a proposal that will alter human civilization forever. He calls it information management, a proposal. His supervisor writes on it in red ink, vague but exciting. That vague proposal will become the World Wide Web. But here's what most people don't know: Berners-Lee's boss initially rejected the idea. The document that would revolutionize communication nearly ended up in a filing cabinet, forgotten. This is the story of how one man's frustration with incompatible computers inadvertently created the most powerful information system in human history. And why his choice to give it away for free transformed everything. Tim Berners-Lee wasn't trying to invent the internet. The internet already existed, a network of networks created by the US Department of Defense in the 1960s. But using it required technical expertise that only computer scientists possessed. You needed to know specific commands, understand complex protocols, and navigate through text-based interfaces that appeared as alien hieroglyphics to ordinary users. Berners-Lee's innovation wasn't the network itself, it was making that network accessible to everyone. At CERN, the problem was acute. Researchers arrived from universities worldwide, each bringing different computer systems, file formats, and ways of organizing information. A physicist from Stanford couldn't easily access research from a colleague at Oxford, even though they worked on the same project. Information existed in isolated pockets, like islands without bridges connecting them. The technical term for this was information management, but Berners-Lee felt it as sheer frustration. Every day, valuable research remained hidden because computers couldn't communicate in a common language. The solution came to him not as a grand vision, but as a practical fix to a daily annoyance. Berners-Lee's background influenced his approach to this problem in unexpected ways. Born in London in 1955, he grew up in a household where mathematics and early computing were topics of conversation. His parents, Mary Lee Woods and Conway Berners-Lee, both worked on the Ferranti Mark I, one of the world's first commercial computers. They met while programming it in the early 1950s, making Tim literally the product of early computing romance. This provided him with something rare, an intuitive grasp of how computers could serve human needs, not the other way around. During his studies at Oxford, he built his first computer from spare parts and a television set. More importantly, he developed a philosophy that would define his entire career. Technology, he believed, should be a tool for human connection and collaboration, not a barrier that separated experts from everyone else. This philosophy would prove transformative when applied to global information sharing. But in 1989, sitting in his CERN office, he was just a frustrated programmer trying to solve an immediate problem. The breakthrough moment came when Berners-Lee realized he was thinking about the problem backwards. Instead of trying to make different computer systems compatible, what if he created a layer that sat on top of all existing systems? A universal language that could translate between any two computers, regardless of their internal architecture? He called this concept hypertext, text that could link to other text anywhere in the world. The idea wasn't entirely new. Computer scientist Ted Nelson had coined the term hypertext in the 1960s, and Berners-Lee had encountered similar concepts in his earlier work. But no one had figured out how to make it functional across various computer networks on a global scale. Berners-Lee's innovation lay in combining three separate technologies that already existed: URLs to assign every piece of information a unique address, HTTP to enable computers to request and receive information from each other, and HTML to format text with embedded links. None of these were groundbreaking by themselves. Combined, they created something unprecedented, a universal system for sharing information that could function on any computer connected to any network. Here's the remarkable part: Berners-Lee wrote the first web browser, the first web server, and the first website entirely by himself, working nights and weekends while maintaining his regular job at CERN. The first website, launched on August 6, 1991, was located at info.cern.ch. It contained exactly what you'd expect from a computer scientist: a dry explanation of what the World Wide Web was and how to use it. No graphics, no videos, just text and hyperlinks. Yet this simple page represented something profound, the first publicly accessible document designed to be read by anyone with a computer and internet connection. The site's visitors came from a small community of researchers and computer enthusiasts. Most found it through word of mouth or mentions in technical mailing lists. There was no Google to discover it, no social media to share it. People had to hear about this new thing called the World Wide Web from colleagues or read about it in academic papers. But once they visited that first website, they immediately grasped its potential. The web's early growth illustrates how revolutionary ideas spread in scientific communities. From that single website at CERN, the concept multiplied exponentially. Universities began establishing their own web servers. Computer science departments taught students how to create web pages. Within 2 years, there were over 600 websites worldwide. By 1994, that number had surged to